Going back to the top story, the commercial production of crude oil from the Krishna-Godavari Basin. That's our top story. And joining me for more on this story is Mr. Narendra Taneja. Mr. Taneja tracks energy policy and geopolitics. Mr. Taneja, are you with us?
Yes.
Right, I'm told he is with us. Mr. Taneja, good to see you. First off, could you give our viewers an overview of the discovery of oil and gas in the Krishna-Godavari River Basin? And also, why was it important?
Well, good question. You see, when you look at the landscape of India in terms of oil and gas exploration production, we have, done very well in terms of oil and gas production from onshore fields in Assam, in Gujarat, in Rajasthan, in Andhra Pradesh, and a couple of other places. But scientists, they have been saying for years now that, we have huge potential in terms of oil and gas in our deep water and ultra deep water. So that means basically going, along the east coast and the west coast and also in the Andaman Nicobar, for hunting for oil and gas. That's precisely what, the company ONGC has been doing. And they started this process many years ago. First, of course, was the survey and then followed by exploration. And they have been lucky in terms of identifying a few areas where it was established by scientists that we have oil and gas, but very deep in the water. So they mobilize technology, they mobilize training, they mobilize, other skills, etc. It took some time, but as you know, that first, they established it, and now they've started production. So if you look globally, there are only 5 or 7 countries in total which have got the kind of, capability and over a period of time built capacity to go for oil and gas exploration in deep water and ultra deep water. Now India has joined this club. ONGC has joined this club. We have been producing oil and gas from deep water near Krishna-Godavari in that area only by a private sector company. But this is the first time that ONGC has started production, and in a very significant way, producing 47,000 barrels a day, and they're going to scale it up to close to 80,000 barrels per day, plus of course natural gas. So I think ONGC joining the deep water club, ONGC helping the country to reduce its dependence on imports in terms of oil and gas, which I think is a very, very significant issue. As the scientists say, Bay of Bengal is floating on oil and gas. Andaman Nicobar area is floating on oil and gas. So with this going on stream in terms of production, I think is a very significant step in the direction of Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of oil and gas, or to achieve the goal of energy independence by 2047. Which is the country's ultimate goal. So it's very significant, very important step.
Mr. Taneja, thank you for breaking it down for our viewers. Now, again, to put it in perspective, how much oil was India producing until now, and how does it compare to the rest of the world?
Well, very good question. You see, I'll break it in 2 parts first,
sure,
so that for your viewers. First is, that we are the 3rd largest consumer of oil in the world. The United States, China, and then India. So we consume roughly 5.5 million barrels of oil every day. 5.5 million, which makes us the 3rd largest consumer, of oil on the planet. But bulk of it, almost 87% of it is imported. We are importing from different geographies. But part of it, 87%, we import, we refine, and we export in terms of products like petrol, diesel, kerosene, turbine fuel, etc., to 106 countries around the world. So we are a major player in terms of petrol, diesel, etc., globally. But with this, what happened, when it comes to our own production is about, in total about 14%, 14 to 15%, it keeps changing, of the total oil consumption of 5.5 million barrels. So with this, it will help us to reduce our dependence to some extent. Don't forget one thing, when we say India is a fast-growing economy, India is the fastest-growing emerging economy in the world, and economies grows on the basis, on the strength of energy. And within energy, oil is actually the very important commodity. So which means that, while we are reducing our dependence on imports, while we are going for, production from, deep water, but at the same time, we will continue to consume more oil because we are a very fast expanding economy. So therefore, I think on the one hand, we are making more on oil and gas, from our own basis, but at the same time we are consuming more. But it's a very strong step. As I said, India joining the Deepwater Club, ONGC joining the Global Deepwater Club. That is what is significant, because the scientists say that in our deep water, in our ultra deep water on the west coast, particularly on the east coast and Andaman Nicobar, we have got huge reserves. So this shows that now we have the capability, we have technology, we have the expertise, and our companies are going to go even deeper into ultra deep water in the entire area, which means in future, who knows, that we may be in a position that that we will be able to reduce our dependence on imported oil to maybe just 10% or even less than 10%.
Indeed. So as you say, Mr. Taneja, India produces only 14% of its total consumption of oil. But that said, what will be the Krishna-Godavari Basin's contribution to India's domestic oil production?
Good question. You see, when you look at the Krishna-Godavari Basin's entire, whether the ONGC and plus the other companies operating in that area, that has already helped us. For instance, our dependence on imported natural gas until recently was about 56%, which means 56% of our total requirement we have been importing. Now, thanks to Krishna-Godavari, that our dependence on imported gas has actually come down by about 5%, which is significant for an economy like ours. So, and in oil now, for instance, our dependence will, over a period of time, come down significantly. We are starting with 48,000 barrels. It will go up to 70,000 per barrel, and over a period it may go even 100,000 barrels, etc. So this has shown the way. This is just the beginning. And that area, the Krishna-Godavari Basin area, that is, according to scientists and geologists, that we have plenty of oil available there. Only thing we need is to actually explore further and dig even deeper under the seabed. So now we have the expertise, now we have the technology, now we got the people who know how to do it. I think, so it will continue. But as far as I look upon Krishna-Godavari, the entire area, and this news in this way, that look, now we have more or less mastered technology. We know how to do it, how to go into deep water, ultra deep water, and bring oil and gas out from there for our consumption, our for our industry, for our economy, our individual users, so on and so forth. I'm looking at this way, that this entire area is going to lead us to actually venture into other parts of East Coast and also West Coast and Andaman Nicobar, and eventually reach to the state where we'll be able to reduce our dependence on imports quite significantly.
On that optimistic note, Mr. Taneja, may I thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home